Lamar's City Council regular meeting order Tuesday, July 20th at 12 p.m. Would you please join me in pledge allegiance to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have roll call. Christie?
Knapp?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Child?
Yes. A motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'd like to welcome everybody in the chamber today and see Deb is here from the Mars Daily Sentinel, and particularly you people that are watching wherever you may be over television. Okay, today we've got a hearing, and it regards the mayor and council's salaries. At the July 6, 2021 meeting, the council set this as the date and the time to hear public comment on the City of Lamar's Code of Ordinance changes to Chapter 15 and Chapter 17. The changes involve mayor and council salaries. The proposed changes are attached. I assume you've all had a chance to look at those and see them over the weekend. At this time, I'm going to open the hearing and ask for written or oral objections or comments to the changes. I will once again ask for any written or oral objections or comments to the changes of this hearing. Hearing none, I close the meeting at this time. The administration recommends the council approval of the first reading.
Motion to approve first reading of ordinance 966 to amend chapter 15, mayor, and chapter 17, city council of the Lamar Code of Ordinances.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the first reading of the ordinance of number 966 to amend chapter 15 as mayor and chapter 17 as city council of the Lamar's Code of Ordinances. Do we have a roll call on that, Christie?
Can we have a little further discussion?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I've been doing some thinking about this, and I've been back and forth on this issue, but I would be in favor of dropping the mayor back to $12,000 a year and leaving the council salaries as is. That's where I'm at on this.
Okay.
I agree with that.
I have changed my mind a little bit on that, so.
What you're saying is leaving the mayor's salary, or the council's salary where they're at today,
Yes.
and dropping the mayor's salary back
To 12.
To 12.
Yes, and just for general information and reminders, we raised the mayor up some years ago. Dick really stepped up to the plate and was doing much more work than previous mayors. And at that time, we had said that it was for Dick that we were doing it because he was stepping up and the need for the city, had some voids at the time. So I kicked this one back and forth, but that's where I'm at on it. So
I can share this. One of the reasons why I stepped up is the fact that, if you'll recall, I think it was the first year that I became mayor, 12 years ago. 3 months after I was in the position, Scott Lango walked into my office and said, I've got lymphoma cancer. And we wrestled with that for probably 5 or 6 months, and finally came to the council. Excuse me, because nobody was really stepping up and felt they had any authority to make decisions, if you'll recall, at that time. And that's one of the reasons why we did what we did. Yep. And got through it, and bless his soul.
Just to be clear, Clark, there's no need for this ordinance then?
no, I'd like to back the mayor back down.
And then after 4 years?
No, and just leave it.
And council?
Just leave it be.
Okay, so
Yeah, I've gone back and forth on it. I mean, I'll be the first to admit, I've looked at this a lot of different ways. One of the ways I've looked at it is if a common person wants to be here, and he's, I don't mean what I'm trying to say is a working person who has to take time off of work, costs him money to be up here, because he's gotta take the day off for personal pay or vacation. I don't want those people to not have this position for that reason, but people need to understand there is personal cost to sitting up here. There is personal cost, and so I've gone back and forth, but Steve, yes, thank you. That's my clarification, is I would like to drop the mayor back to 12 and leave it, no step after 4 years, no nothing. Council stays at 6, or wherever it is, 5, I guess it is, 5 a month for ever.
So for the purposes of the ordinance in front of you guys today, what we're discussing, I believe, is deleting the second sentence of 15.04 and deleting the second sentence of 17.06. Now, before we get to that, we did have a motion and a second as written, so that will need to be voted on, and then you would need to do a new motion for the as amended portion, if that's what you want to do.
Okay, so where do we go from here, Mike?
Roll call.
We got to vote on the one as, with the motion and second needs to be voted on.
Okay. We have roll call on that one, Christie?
Goodchild,
No.
Donlin,
No.
Wick,
Yes.
Knapp.
Yep.
It's defeated.
Because of the time.
Mhm.
Okay.
So now we make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 966, amending chapter 15, mayor, with no step up.
Okay.
No, are we?
Well, 1706 would remain unchanged, correct?
So we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, so it's, council is 6,000 right now. So just as you said, Mike, let's take out both sentences in 1504 and 1706, where it starts upon serving 4, take the rest of that out in both of them.
But we're not even doing 1706, because it doesn't need to be done,
Nope.
because we're back where we were.
Yeah, it's exactly.
current ordinance.
So it's just, okay, so then 1706, I just crossed it off.
Yes, yes.
1504, upon serving, remove all that
Fine,
stuff.
and then the upon serving doesn't occur.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, chapter, which one we're crossing out here?
17.
1706.
17 is completely crossed out.
Okay, all right. Okay,
So that's the motion I made.
and
Okay.
run that by me again. Motion to what?
Just to do motion of
First reading.
15 for the mayor's salary to $12,000, period.
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the first reading of the ordinance of number 966 to amend chapter 15.
That's it. That's all we're doing is amending 15.
At the Lamar's, of the Lamar's Code and Ordinance, okay? Do we have a roll call on that? Is there a second on that?
I did.
Do we have a roll call, Christie?
Wick,
Yes.
Donlin,
Yes.
Knapp.
Yep.
Goodchild.
Yes.
Yes, you went back off these roll calls.
Motion
You were
carried.
gone, so now we're back in, see?
I feel pretty good about that.
Okay, so now we're at citizens discussion. Okay.
Okay, moving on to general discussion. The way we handle our general discussion, we ask you to step up to the podium and state your name and address. The purpose for open discussion is if anybody has any concerns, any things that they want to visit about, or good comments about the city, we ask them to state their names. We cannot at this time, the council cannot vote on anything at this time, but they're certainly always willing to listen and welcome anything. Any open discussion? You're seeing none, move on to discussion with Mike.
I'd like to give a
Thumbs up award.
Yeah, I'd like to give a thumbs up to the, a subsidiary of the local service club, Kiwanis Club, it has a subgroup called the Action Club. The Action Club is a service club organized and run by the local members of our community with disabilities of various kinds. It's been operating for many years under the Kiwanis thing, but it was under suspension for the last year and a half during COVID. But it has resumed meetings this month. Its first meeting was 2 weeks ago. Its second meeting is this afternoon. So thumbs up to them for getting back together and in service to the community with the rest of us.
And they thoroughly enjoy every minute of it.
It's a lot of fun.
It sure is. Very good, Mike. Clark?
I got nothing.
Rex?
Yeah, I got a couple of items. The street department was very auspicious in getting the lines painted down Central. Right now,
I thought we formed a paint department.
no, right now they're doing it. I think they did it in lieu of the fact that we were gonna have a city council meeting because they were asking for a thumbs up award. I'm giving the street department a thumbs up for getting the lines painted. Please don't step on them as you walk across because they look a little wet to me.
Have they
No,
tried
I don't think you want to drive your vehicle across unless you want to worry about getting the yellow paint on it. So that's the street department thumbs up. I think they were looking for that, so give it to them. Second thing is obviously our town has, about the next 10 days, is nobody in a town of 10,000 could compete with what we got going in the next 10 days. The town looks beautiful. We got a lot of volunteers, both for Rag Ride and the fair. And I'm sure Rick's sitting there, he'll take some more volunteers if you want to give him a call.
Always take it.
He'll give you a nice bright green shirt, tell you where to go, give you a shuttle ride from the police department to the location. So, I mean, we got this thing going on in town, folks. It's going to be a beautiful event. We got 10,000 people from out of town and minimums coming in. It doesn't happen that often, so soak it in. I don't care if it's 94 or not. Soak it in because it's a neat deal. And we got the best volunteers, and we got the best city in the country in the next 10 days for a town of 10,000. So amen to everybody that's helping, everybody that's volunteering, everybody that's going to do things. And yeah, if you can't get a hold of Rich, call Jessica over at the
Convention Center, CVB.
CVP. Otherwise, Julie Hurd, call
Get out of total.
Mitch at Total, call
Maybe sit.
Peggy Sitzman, call Michael Lang at American Bank. I mean, heck, he's just the president, so call him. I mean, those people are all on the steering committee, they're all doing a heck of a job. We're gonna vote on some things.
Mike Wells Jr.
Yeah, we got some good people that are really working and stepping hard at this thing, so give thumbs up, and when you see the people in the bright green shirts that say volunteer on them, go around and thank them, because that's how we make this town what it is, and so pleased to be part of it and be here and say that I am a city councilman for this kind of town. So that's my thumbs up.
Thanks, Rex. I just want to expand one other area on that. As mayor of the town, I too want to give them a lot of praise, the ragback committee. You absolutely can't believe how hard they have worked on this project with all the volunteers. I took notice of several other things, parts that I've been involved in anyway. But Rich, I don't think you've left out anything, in my opinion, as far as buses, what time, where, what roads, what stops. I mean, it's pinpointed in writing. And those people have done a tremendous job on this project under the conditions. Steve?
I'll step up as the third to compliment that executive committee, all of the organizers.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I thought we were over planning. I don't know if we over planned or not. I think we're ready. Wednesday, 5 until 7 is cleanup downtown from the chamber office, I think. If you're interested in pushing a broom or something downtown, they're gonna need some help down there, but Just, I know we're gonna follow it up in August with lots of compliments for RAGBRAI, for the fair, but I wanted to get out in front of it too and say what an outstanding job everybody has done.
Yeah.
So I appreciate all of that too.
Okay. Okay, moving on to the consent items. All items listed on the consent agenda will be enacted in one motion. There'll be no separate discussion on those items unless a request is made prior to the time the council votes on the motion. Today we have 5 of them. Number 1 is approval of the July 6, 2021 regular meeting minutes. Number 2 is a list of the bills for the period ending 7/16/21. Number 3 is a monthly financial statement for the June 2021. And number 4 is a new liquor license renewal of beer and wine permits for Casey's, Habitué, Dusty Lady, and Corkin. And number 5 is the urban revitalization tax exemption request. Is there anyone that wants to pull any of these 5?
I did want to mention on number 5, there is 3 requests. The motion says 2 requests, but there is 3.
3 requests instead of 2. Yeah,
The
okay.
list was 3.
The list was 3, that is correct.
Okay. Okay, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve consent items 1 through 5.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moving second to approve motion, action items 1 through 5. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion, opposed? Motion carried. Okay, moving on to the action items. Okay, under the action items, the first thing on the agenda is a Main Street Challenge Grant. Attached is the information from the Main Street manager. Rich Zetlow, I believe, is here representing that. Am I right, Rich?
Right.
Requesting financial support for a 2022 State of Iowa Main Street Challenge grant application in the amount of $50,000 for the Vandermeer Bakery building. Rich will be present. He's present here to address any questions. The recommendation of the administration, council approved the funding of the $50,000 for the project. The financial impact of funding would come from the economic development, which is a larger request than the past years. So, Rich, would you want to explain this a little bit to us? And
Yeah, if you have any questions, I can answer those, but this year, the Main Street program, Challenge Grant Program, they bumped the maximum of grant that you can receive. Used to be $75,000, now it's up to $100,000, which is why you see the increase in the funds. We appreciate the city council's support in the past, coming up with, half of the $75,000 or $37,500 in most cases the last few years. So that's where we came up with $50,000 request for this year. It was the city matching the funds, at half of what the grant amount will be. So, and again, it's contingent on if we receive the grant, then the city council will, contribute their $50,000. This year, again, it's for the Vandermeer Bakery building, 2nd floor. Clinton and Nathan Cass, the owners of the building. Last year they had applied for the challenge grant, but at that point they were wanting to put their own personal residence up there. This year they've rethought it, and now it's going to be 4 high-end apartments that will be situated above the double-wide Vandermeer Bakery building. Any questions?
Do you know, is 100,000, is that anticipated to be the amount going forward, or is that just an increased amount for this year?
I'm not aware of if it's to go forward. At this stage, I'd say it's an increased amount for this year. They may continue next year. It's kind of up to what funds that the state provides to them.
excuse me, any other questions for Rich?
Is it a highly competitive application-wise for the state?
Yeah, it's open to all 52 Main Street communities, and so, yeah, there are, not everyone gets the award, you know, they only have so much, I don't know what their total pot is, but usually every year there's about half of the applicants that don't receive funds.
Actually, there's a history in the program today
Yeah, if you look at the
of what's
history
been
here.
done in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, over
Through
this,
this particular grant.
And the last year we received it was 2018?
it was, not this past year, yeah, but 2008,
Right.
Yeah,
yeah, for the hotels.
excuse me, Clyde.
Does us reducing the amount affect your ability to get the amount? And then do they only match what we match?
No, what they're looking for is, you know, is the city supportive of the program and that you're doing matching funds? The amount, like you see over the past few years, it hasn't always been the 50% of what the total grant could be.
Right.
But what they're looking for, that, you know, it doesn't affect the amount that they would award. They will give $100,000 to the program, whether you get 10,000 or whatever.
Because my only concern, Rich, and I think this council has been completely supportive of these programs, I have no problem. I'm a little bit uncomfortable with increasing the amount myself. I'd like to go back to the 37.5 myself. I'm uncomfortable with going up on it. That always gets us into, you did it for them. That's my fear.
But whether it's 37.5 or 50,000 or 10,000, that doesn't really impact how the Main Street program looks at awarding the grant. They're looking at the merits of the program, and do we have the city's support for
No,
the
but
partnership?
does it affect, Rich, the amount the CASas would pay then? Do they have to
Right.
pick up?
Yeah,
They
they'd have to
pick up the
pick
opposite.
Yeah.
They pick up the opposite.
Yeah, it's a $420-some thousand project. I mean, what they don't get in the Main Street grant and from the city, obviously, it's up to them to.
Right.
And if I'm right, Rich, whatever the grant is that the state sets, we match 50% of it if we want to be involved.
I don't
The
know.
50%, that's kind of what you have done in the past, or
Yeah.
what's been asked for, but that's not
Not
any guideline from the Main Street
Okay,
program.
all right.
Yeah, it's purely your option, how much you want to contribute.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was with the Clausen's one, why that